We started this podcast because Naman and I kept having real conversations about growth, distractions, and being Muslim men today. And we realized other brothers might benefit from it too. But honestly, it was a way for me to put out regular content without overthinking everything. So today we're going back to how it all started and why we decided to hit the record button in the first place. What is the purpose of this podcast? Why are we even rolling up on camera and even doing this? Right. And I was thinking back to like how it all kind of organically started. Well, basically it was due to my immense procrastination. And because I wasn't making any content and we already know like pretty much in this kind of stage where everything's at, you need to have some type of online presence. Otherwise no one knows who you are. And no matter what services or whatever speciality that you have that you can help people with. Like people don't know you, then basically they can't reach you. And that was the reason why, I was just like, it just became like these random kind of sessions that we would do, just kind of checking in, like how you going with things, because obviously the entrepreneur path, like there's so many obstacles. There's a lot of personal growth that you have to go through and barriers you have to overcome. And that's why we kind of started this. And then we're like, hey, like maybe this can be content. Like you don't, I wasn't really feeling comfortable to like talk about the porn addiction recovery niche. Um, maybe I didn't, yeah, maybe I was just kind of thinking too much about like, what would people say? Um, if I want to because if I want to do it, I want to do it right. I didn't want to kind of sugarcoat things too much because the people ultimately kind of suffering from this, like they need to hear, what's actually going to help them. Not they don't want to. Otherwise, there's no point in me even doing it. Like because there's plenty of people that kind of tiptoe around the issue, um, and I wanted to kind of tackle it like kind of head on, but I didn't know how to do that at the time. So this podcast became like a way for me to kind of discuss it, but it felt like I wasn't really having to deal with all of those other things that were kind of blocking me in actually producing and publishing content on YouTube because I wasn't really thinking too much about myself and just having someone that you can riff with kind of helped me overcome that barrier. And that's basically how this podcast even started. I mean, it wasn't even a podcast when we were doing it. We were literally just doing Zoom sessions. And I kind of wanted to revisit the actual like core genesis of why this even started. Like, what's the purpose of? Because if otherwise, it's very easy to just miss things. Like when we get busy, and things be like, oh, yeah, we'll just leave it to the side. So I thought it was just good to kind of get concrete again about what this is and what it represents. So that's just kind of my perspective on why I'm committed to to this podcast for the long term, inshallah. And yeah, and a little bit of context about how this came to be because it wasn't something I was thinking about. Like, yeah, I really want to produce a podcast. That was never really on the cards. I never thought about it. So, how about for you? I don't know. That was my kind of take on it. Um, did you have your own kind of
I think
perspective?
yeah, when we were starting, we were just us talking, and then I think we were being pushed by our mentors like, dude, you need to post something. So
Yeah,
I think I came to you and said, bro, when we just talk, just record it on your side because you had better Zoom quality and control because you were the one with Zoom at the time. I didn't have anything.
that's true.
Like
That's
yeah,
right.
so I was just like, do you want to just record it so then you can also upload it? And I think once it came out, it made everything make more sense because conversation is more natural. Like you wanted to post something like perfect, really good that everyone would
Yeah.
benefit from. But with this, it's just us two guys in the bedroom just talking about what what matters to them. So it doesn't need to be perfect. But I think that's the intrigue of podcasts. I think a group of people who are asked on who was it? It was either Chris Williamson or someone, one of the podcasts, and the audience was asked, "Why do you appreciate?" I don't actually think it was him, but why do you appreciate podcasts? Why do you watch it? Why is it so popular? And a lot of people say because I don't know what to expect. So when it's and I was like, okay, that's true. Because when you're watching a podcast, even if it's people like us that are relatively very new to this and don't have many subscribers, people still do tune in just because they're like, let me just see what he has to say. If one point gets interesting, it develops and snowballs into a bigger picture afterwards. And I think people like going on that journey with two people, just trying to listen and understand the conversation. Because it's when you have two people that you find interesting, even when you're sitting in a gathering, you just want to sit there and talk. You don't really even input. You just listen. And I think it gives more of that old school feel before we had social media and we'd be watching movies and entertaining. We would be entertaining one another. So I think
Hmm.
what the podcast does is gives you an opportunity to just entertain one another like you would like when you would be sitting by a campfire listening to a story or people's experiences. And I think they really enjoy it. And I think this is the best move we could have done, especially for myself as well, because it gave me chances to reflect on like my decisions of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's all coming back to me now. Yeah. It was because like, hey, you have a Zoom account. Like, why don't you actually
Yeah.
make use of it? And it was simple as that. And you actually came up with the recommendation, like, hey, this you should just record this. Like, we would talk for like 45 minutes and be like, dude, this should have been content that we would upload.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's actually the spark. That was actually the catalyst. You actually saying that. And then afterwards we were like, yeah, this should have been. And then it happened like 2, 3 times, I think. And then okay, all right, from this point onwards, let's just record. And yeah, it was on my phone. It was rubbish quality. It was basically my PJs. Like it was
Yeah.
like. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. But yeah, I think you make good points about. Yeah, people do just enjoy seeing people conversate, and it's just going back. Like that's another thing because I'm in my 30s. I'm in my mid 30s. You're in your mid to early 20s. So there's also like a variance in age and perspectives. I'm a either you're like a born Muslim, you kind of went to an Islamic school. Obviously, I didn't. So it's just
Yeah.
I'm in Australia. You're in the UK. So it's also like a mixture of different experiences. And I get a lot of value from speaking to someone who's lived a complete different life to me. Different kind of age and generation. I'm a millennial. You're a Gen Z. So I feel like it's also like kind of cross sharing like experiences and so which I really kind of value. Um, and another thing that you said, like, even though you're like in your early 20s, bro, like, that you just mentioned, like, look, people sitting back in the campfire, like old school days, is like, that's
Yeah.
not even part of your generation, but somehow
Yeah.
you've got that grasp. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, your maturity levels is quite beyond your age, I'd say.
Nah, alhamdulillah, that's right.
Inshallah. So, yeah, I thought, um, and yeah, I guess it is kind of like our documenting our journey in a way as well. Um, like it is a time kind of reflect and be like, what are you working on? Like where you at now? And it will be kind of fun, inshallah, in the future to see like if there's been steps forward and seeing these kind of videos back and, and having that record. I think that's valuable. I came across this like journal that there was a period in my life where I was kind of journaling quite a lot. This was like 2017, I want to say. And because in my head, I was like, I became Muslim in 2020. Because that's when I officially, took my shahada. But I had no recollection until I actually stumbled across these journal entries that I made in 2017, where I was just talking about God a lot. And I wasn't talking about, like, it had Tawheed in my writing. Like, there was no other thing. And that actually shocked me
Wow.
that my journey actually started a lot earlier than how I actually remembered. And so having these kind of videos, it will be kind of similar to having like those journal entries because it's very easy to forget. Like I'm quite forgetful at times. So 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 having video record about like, hey man, you're doing this in 2025. Um, so yeah, that's also another kind of benefit of doing this and inshallah just kind of progressing on different levels, seeing kind of different milestones in our lives, inshallah, and yeah, how we handle it and also just to people to kind of get to know a bit more about you, because when you're doing those videos, um, you're so focused on like providing value that it's not the platform to it's not the right forum to kind of be talking about yourself, and people wanting
Yeah.
to kind of like, who is Malik? Who is Noman behind like the YouTube videos and the Instagram reels? So just to give people a little bit of insight about our backgrounds and things like that too, because I think that's important. Because I don't want to be those guys that just like it's only one dimension, like they don't know anything about me. Or like I want them to have like some type of kind of access, especially like with the topic that I deal with. I feel like it's important, like you kind of get a grasp of like what the guy actually is like. You know what I mean? Like because it's yeah, it is an amana. Like it is someone sharing like a painful kind of journey that you're wanting to help them. So there needs to be that kind of trust, and that you need to see what your personality is like and that type of thing as well.
Yeah. It's definitely about documenting the journey for me. And I look back on the videos. I've actually been driving while yesterday, and I just listened to podcast. I think number 5, the career one, and it's just nice thinking about, okay, is this really how I thought at that time? Do I still think like this? I'm like, okay, yeah, I do. Okay, even though I think that was filmed maybe 6 weeks ago. I think I'm like, okay, but how has my life changed 6 weeks? Okay, it's changed drastically, and there's actually a lot happened. And would I still agree with it, and was that the right decision to make? The decisions I made last year that I spoke about in that video, and I was thinking back, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I think that was me being authentic, because I still do agree. So I watched it, I'm like, I do agree with what I said, and if anything, I'm glad what I said at the end, which was, if I ever needed to go back to a job, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and I would. And looking back, I'm like, okay, I'm if I didn't say that, I would feel like a hypocrite. So I'm glad I did. And I always look back and see the first video I was watching maybe 2 months ago, because we posted about 3 or 4 months ago. And I was looking back, I was like, wow, okay, one thing I need to change is the camera quality. That has to change. It still has to change. It still has to change. So that's one thing. Audio update quite a lot. So I've even bought a new mic. It just sounds better. It looks better. And I appreciate that growth
Oh,
of like,
sure.
yeah, the video it's just getting better
Yeah.
bit by bit, even if it's just a mic this time, and then maybe like the entire laptop, maybe, or just a new camera and a new monitor. We'll see. But I appreciate the
Yeah.
growth over time as well.
Man, I'm pretty sure on one of my intro, like I did one of our episodes, I did an intro and I was saying like, yeah, you can listen to these podcasts on like all leading like audio platforms. And I'm pretty sure like I haven't uploaded any of these
Oh,
episodes apart from the first two on Spotify, because I think I forgot my password on the email address to
okay,
upload those. So inshallah, I will upload those for people who don't want
okay,
to put up with the average video quality. But in short, hopefully they appreciate the audio quality. I think they all say that like audio quality is more important than video. So,
mm,
um, so yeah, I think hopefully they'll give us that. Um,
yeah. I
but yeah, man,
think,
you go.
yeah, no, I just when you're driving, because a lot of people like to listen to podcasts while they're doing other things,
Yep,
because they know they don't have to look at the screen. And what I
yep.
found yesterday was I was watching some huge, like, big podcasters while I was doing my deliveries, and I was like, wow, like, this is a problem, because I have to look at the screen, because now these guys start doing pop-ups and diagrams during the podcast, and they start
Mm,
explaining stuff. I'm like, I can't even watch this. Like, I'm learning something. It was about health, and it was
yeah,
about blood sugar and the keto diet. I'm like, normally I just listen to the guy, and then if I remember, okay, I need to do notes, I'll watch the video again and then kind of go through it in super high speed and just take those notes down, because if I really appreciate the video. Now I couldn't. I just turn it off, because halfway through I'm like, what? Not even halfway. It's a 3 hour, 2 hour podcast. Within the first 10 minutes, the guy was talking diagrams. He was showing pictures. He's like, okay, so guys, this is how it looks like. And I was like, oh man, I can't watch this, because while I'm driving, after I look at the screen, it's ruined it. It ruined it for me. I
yeah. You
can't just
feel like you're
listen to
missing
have
out.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a good thing you stumble upon, because uh, like and now we're content creators. Like we have to, like, that's the label for us now. So
yeah,
so as content creators, like, you don't, they always say like these. YouTube gurus and things like that, that you don't want to overwhelm your listener or viewer.
Mm.
Um, so because of they cause that kind of friction to you, before you were just enjoying the podcast, and then it's like now you're
Yeah.
missing out. There's new information. You're like, and you're just like you're more likely just to click out of it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that got
so
me to watch our podcast again. Our own one.
mashallah.
I was like, let me just listen
The-
back. Yeah.
yeah. So all right, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about listening to yourself speak or watching yourself speak or both?
Ah. Honestly, on this podcast, I don't mind it because I feel like I'm talking calm and slow and relaxed. On
Yeah,
my normal videos, it feels very cringe on my YouTube videos. And I think
yeah,
because I'm more energetic and I have this, it's more of an explosive, like personality, energetic personality. So I feel like it's fake.
right.
I feel
Yeah.
fake when I watch it. But my recent one was good. It was really because it was almost 20 minutes and it was like a podcast in itself of me explaining my life and what I'm gonna do. The aggressive
Mm,
periodization video. That was one of the rare times where I felt like this feels natural. This and the
mm,
last video. Because the last two, no edits, they were just me to camera talking.
yeah.
And that was very different from my usual one where I'm going on about this, and I'm making something, then out of nowhere transition to me in the gym. It felt more natural. So I like them better than
Mm,
the ones with this a lot of editing. Because that doesn't feel natural.
yeah. Yeah. When I'm editing it, I'm just like, it does feel a bit cringe.
Yeah.
but but then when you put it out, it has like a different, people have a different response to it. So now I've learned to like not judge it, like, because you're too close to it, you don't, and it's, so yeah, like that's why it's like, I don't know what the terminology is, but basically it's like, because we're too invested, we can't like, we don't appreciate what the video is doing or the impact or how somebody else unpacks it. It's so subjective, and that's what I realized. Like even when it's not even the editing. It's like when I'm shooting, I'm like, I'm saying the lines. I believe in everything. Like I think it's really good, but like there's still an element of like, yeah, this line, bro. I don't know, man. This analogy, really? Like, and then somebody else watches it or whatever, and they were like, yeah, that was really good. And I was like, oh, okay, alhamdulillah. So I'm glad I didn't judge it too hard and like, cut it out or not put it out. Um, but yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, because this is conversation. It's not. It's unscripted. It's, we don't. We got a loose framework about what we wanted to talk about today, but largely it's just like, yeah. And this is one of the other reasons why we wanted to do it, is just like it's just a bit more freeing, because obviously when we're making content, it's like we're making content about um, to help our target people, right? In your case, people want to elevate their fitness. Um, so it needs to be for them. It's not about us as well in that space. Whereas this, like, we can take a few more liberties and yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Especially that point you made, it definitely affected me a lot. Um not obviously not like got me emotional, just it made me understand the importance of some of the videos that we make without realizing. Because the last one I made, which was almost no views, but it was the gamification of your life just to improve. So by gamification, what I mean is, if anyone didn't watch the video, how to turn your life like a game and level up. And each step of the way is you just leveling up in your life. And there will be setbacks and there will be hardships, but over time you get stronger, just like a game. And it becomes fun. And there was a time in my life where our entire life revolved around that. Was when we were kids and we used to play. And when you go to gym now, you would say, okay, 3 sets of box jump, squats, and overhead press. And it just sounds like 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps. It's very methodical and it can be very boring. But as a kid, you did that. It was not called box jumps. It's who could jump the furthest, who could jump the highest. It wasn't called let's do 3 sets of push-ups. Nope. I'm gonna beat
mm,
you in push-ups with a friend. And if I can't beat you, I'm gonna find another exercise that I'm gonna beat you at. But it's not an exercise, it's a game. It's
yeah,
fun. And we were working out and we were running around, we were sprinting like mad. Even the kid who was a bit chubby and overweight, he still wanted to do it and he still tried to do it. Um, But you don't do that as an adult. You think about it like work. And what happened
Yeah.
was another mentor of ours saw that video and he replied back saying, I remember when I was a kid. Now my what he said really surprised me because Alhamdulillah impacted him very well. But I wasn't thinking that when I was posting it. I was thinking, remember how when we were a kid, workouts used to be fun. Let's make workout fun again. And that was it. That was literally the premise of the video. And it's like 5 minutes. He went and he goes, I remember when I was a kid and he reminded me of how athletic I used to be and how I want and how grateful I was when I did that as a kid because even now when I'm not as active, I still have the strength and the flexibility to still do those movements. And Alhamdulillah, I brought back a really fun and happy memory for me. I knew he was thinking about his childhood in a completely different way. And I'm just trying to teach people how to exercise more. I had never had that thought in the back of my mind. And hearing him say that made me appreciate the work I put in despite not many people watching it. But you don't know who it's going to affect. And this is only because our mentor was able to talk to us directly. There must be people watching this at home feeling like, oh, wow, this impacted me really well. And you're never really going to ever know that. But you just keep posting this stuff, hoping for the best. And also, as long as it means something to you, it will mean something to someone else, inshallah. So it really puts me in a different perspective. Positive feedback is very beneficial. It helps a lot, but so does negative because it helps me improve the video. But for people who are starting off, like us in our journey, we don't know. I don't know when you're watching this. You might only get 10 views, and most people do. Like it's kind of if you get no views, it usually caps off at like 30 and then just stops. That's like the max for people where the algorithm doesn't push it and people don't watch it a lot, and that's fine because how many times in your life are you gonna impact 30 people in one go sitting in one room? Like that's actually a lot of people. But you manage to impact 30 people all across the world. And you don't know how that's going to affect them. And you're probably never going to hear that feedback, but that's fine. Because 30 people tuned in. So that's actually something to be grateful for. And then next time, another 30, and then 30 more. And then out of nowhere, the algorithm's going to push it because you post consistently and it's going to become 1,000. It just happens. Randomly, it'll just happen. I think Maalik, you're on like, 36 videos?
I haven't even looked it up, but yeah, you probably have a better gauge. But I think so. Maybe I think that sounds right. Yeah.
I remember looking at your channel. I think you
Yeah.
have that many.
Yeah, I'm pretty
And
sure.
for
Yeah.
me, it was like just it was 10 views, 100 views max. I was like, whoa, 100 is
Yeah.
awesome, bro. Just 100 views.
I
That
think
was
it
so
counts
exciting.
shorts. It's counting
Yeah,
shorts. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then oh yeah, that's true. You have a lot more shorts. And same actually. I have a lot more shorts than long form.
Yeah.
But and then out of nowhere, all my long form was nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, nothing. And I think it was something to do with I think it was addiction. I think it was actually. It was something to do with addiction. There was a guy who he used to get high and then his father passed away.
Okay.
So now he's like, he can't lead the janaza because he's been intoxicated literally the day before or 2 days before.
Oh.
So now he's just sitting there like, wow. So I made a video on that and that went to like 1.4. I think it maxed out at 1.6K.
Wow.
And it wasn't even like landscape. It was like this.
Yeah.
Me just talking to yeah. But because it was a kind of a harsh topic, it worked and it was long, it was 14 minutes. But then after that, guess what
All
happened? Everything's all the way down to like 20 views, 30 views. No
right.
other video good again.
Yeah.
And then nowhere, the next video shot up to like 1.1K, and that's it. It's such a weird
Yeah.
thing. But that's also comes down to me not being consistent. So the best advice I think I'd give any person ever who's doing content is to just keep posting content as much as humanly possible. And that
Yeah.
now is a reminder to me. So I'm gonna watch back on this podcast and I'm gonna be telling myself you have to post. Because you don't.
Yeah, I want to take this back to the gamification video. You know, you did a great job of like connecting like exercise, but it wasn't called exercise. We didn't know it as exercise back then. Because in primary school, high school, like what's that called? Like play.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
play. But if you were to review all of the actions like that you were doing, like an adult called that like a heptathlon or something, because you're literally running like a half marathon, you're playing footy, you're playing whatever sport. Like as an adult, you'd be like, oh, these guys are doing, you know, decathlon or something like that. but it was just
Yeah,
called play. But as an adult now, it becomes, you're doing a half marathon, and that like it changes the whole context. So I thought that was a really great premise, a really great idea, and yeah, and you're kind of like making exercise like less intimidating for those people who kind of have hang-ups about all kind of barriers to exercise or gym or fitness or whatever it may be. Yeah, so I really like that idea. Yeah, yeah, and somehow it turned from play to doing a thing that you hate in the space of
yeah,
like adulthood. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because he's to me, it was eye opening really thinking about it because it is a chore even for me. Like, I don't know what sometimes I feel really poor from working out. Like I have to force myself to have like a coffee and a bunch of caffeine and even pre-work just to get myself pumped to get in to the gym. I don't know why. Why is it that I require discipline to do something that I was so
mm,
excited to do as a kid? Like I couldn't wait to go meet my friends and play. Like even I would by myself. Like I just wanted to go to the garden and kick a ball about. That was it. That was literally it. Wake up, kick a ball about until like my mom tells me I have to come inside to eat. That
yeah,
was just how it was.
absolutely.
That's just how it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
I'm glad like I grew up the just when I hit high school, we hit the we hit that level of okay, guys, social media is huge, and on phones you can now. Basically, iPhone was blowing up, Samsung was catching up to them. Touchscreen phones, I had like a S2 Mini. Now I can play car games like this. I'm like, what? I can turn my phone outside and the car moves. So
yeah.
that was when it really came in. But I'm glad I had like the first 12, 15 years of my life, no phone, no social media. That allowed me to still be creative.
Mm,
But during high school, that was when like I got a laptop, so I really fell into watching TV shows. Just watching this and this and this. Yeah, that's when I went off from playing around to like being entertained by so much different fantasy and all these other shows and superheroes and stuff.
yeah, that's a
So
good point
that
that you
yeah,
raised, man. So like for a whole generation, like that laptop is the exercise book. So of course they're gonna have some type of negative relationship with tech when that happens. Um, but yeah, man, it was just like exercise books for me, man. Back then,
yeah,
apart from my IT class. Um, but yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, so like yeah, it's a requirement. Like you're not even allowed to. You can't even really do education. Uh, but yeah, for this generation now without the laptop.
yeah,
So
yeah. It doesn't
yeah,
work.
mm,
Especially since it's not even about giving them a textbook. It's just so much of the school system is relying on having a laptop, having a tablet of some kind for the kid,
mm.
which it's easier, so much easier for the
Oh yeah,
teachers.
man.
But yeah,
Dude, if I had that
it's just
excuse, like I need this for to do my homework, bro. Like you've just pretty much got endless access to like gaming. It's like
yeah.
you're just playing video games. Like no, it's like I need this for work, for school. I can't.
That's
So
why
yeah,
schools,
yeah,
at least in the UK, but they force you to buy a laptop, but it's a school one where they've modified it to make sure you can't access certain
yeah,
websites, you can't play games on it, you can't watch movies on it, nothing. Like it's a
yeah,
portal to the school platform, and that's
yeah,
it. You can use the internet to scour and do stuff,
yeah,
but it's very restricted, like
yeah,
heavily
yeah,
restricted.
yeah,
So yeah, in one way that makes sense, but
yeah,
still, yeah.
yeah. I'm sure there's the whiz kids that are finding a way around it and sharing that
Dude,
information with classmates.
honestly, when you're a
Yeah.
kid, that meaning where there's a will, there's a way. Like
Oh yeah,
it is so
100%.
true. Especially when you're a kid who's trying to muck about, do something naughty.
Yeah.
You can find a way.
Well now it's just AI, bro. It's like, hey man, there's a situation. How do I get around it? Yeah, this is a different level, man. This is
Yeah.
different times, man. Yeah. These teachers, good luck to these teachers, bro.
Yeah. And you find that with addict behavior as well. Like you've probably seen so many of your clients who just they can't break an addiction and because they always find a way. You might put a barrier for them. You might tell them to do something and they'll find a way around it. And then they find another way around it just to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember well, I know like in the porn recovery space, like a lot of the I don't know, big players or whatever they might be, like it might be like a Christian organization, whatever. They like they would invest like a lot into creating apps where you can like block all of these like or porn sites and all this kind of haram websites. Um, but all that does is kind of it it just it just kind of blocks your willpower to access those things. So it gives you like a moment to readjust. So you're not so like the impulse. But if you're really determined, they're always going to find a way around it.
Yeah.
They're always going to find a way around it. So, but it does help in you know blocking that your kind of mindless kind of first couple few scrolls that these guys have kind of been programmed to do, and then once it's blocked and it stops them.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do that with like I don't know, it'd be like an Arsenal Reddit forum or something like that. I feel like I'm spending too much time like kind of scrolling, and then I'll just block it. And then like when I would like I'm supposed to be working on I don't know working on a script or working on something, and then I go on it and it's like I realize okay it's blocked, and I'm like oh yeah that's right, like I need to lock in here, and then it does its job.
Okay.
But I can just press a button and unblock it, and I'm back on the Arsenal forum again, wasting like
That's what I'm saying.
45 minutes. You know what I mean? So in that moment, those things kind of help, but it's not gonna. It's 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 not a foolproof situation. There's a lot of deep work that needs to be done to change their core identity. Obviously, the blocking helps if you actually like never end up seeing that content that because there is a lot of rewiring that happens with brain chemistry that it does need time. It actually needs a certain amount of days for you to kind of go back to baseline to kind of help you um, to kind of quit long term. But once again, it's not going to be something that's going to be like a foolproof situation. I think I think it's handy to have in a toolkit, definitely, because like I said, like it can stop like impulsive type of things. Like I've tried these things like just like want to reduce like phone usage from productivity. Like there's like a good tip of putting your phone in grayscale because the colors it's been proven I think study like reduce like phone usage by like 30%.
Yeah, I don't get that. I
So
need to do that.
yeah, because obviously these people are spending a lot of money on millions and millions of dollars on marketing and knowing exactly, bro. This is what I mean. Like you can't like for guys that think that they can defeat uh like kind of defeat bad tech habits just by pure willpower. Like these guys are spending way too much money and time. They're light years ahead, and that's why you know even YouTube is so powerful. The algorithm is so powerful because it's like literally studying every selection that you make, and that's why recently I just turned off like YouTube history,
Mm.
just to reduce my time on YouTube because it learns all of your all of your clicks, so it knows like what you're
Oh,
going to click in the future. So
that's a really good idea.
yeah, so there's been whole studies on this. There's a really great documentary that I always end up recommending my clients. The Social Dilemma. It was like a former Google employee. I think he had held the position of like some type of ethical standard or some ethical officer, or some role that related to ethical behavior or something. And then that his role got scrapped, and then Google kind of like dismantled that whole kind of charter in the company. And then and then he created like this whole kind of movement about and doing like a raising awareness about all of these social media companies, and that because they and there's a great book too called Digital Minimalism. I don't know. Have you read that? Heard about that by Cal
Uh,
Newport? Yeah, it's a great book, and it really does change your perspective on technology, and you realize that you can never win that one because there's just too much money being pumped into studying and learning all of your behaviors. So, so to keep you hooked on these devices, and obviously for people who, and the reason why I kind of get really passionate about this topic is because I know that the more time that you're spending on these kind of apps, like less more so like Instagram and TikTok and these types of things. Um, and if you've got like a tendency to fall into like watching haram content, like there's always going to be a thumbnail. There's always going to be some type of graphic or photo that you come across that's going to trigger them, and it's going to cause a relapse. And then, but then you see that there's so much resistance into removing or reducing their usage of these apps and tech. And then that's why like recommending them is like things like that documentary. It really shows them that like you're really wielding a knife into a gunfight. Yeah, because they're in labs. They have special dedicated. I think they in the book. I think they were talking about this one lab in Stanford University, and a lot of the people who graduated from this specific lab where they study um, basically making addictive tech. And I think like Instagram got kind of, I'm pretty sure Instagram was launched out of that. Like the person who came out of that program ended up founding Instagram,
Oh,
and obviously later gotten, taken up by Facebook, Zuckerberg. And like the level of detail they go. So basically, they were mimicking, yeah, like in the gambling slot machines, like the whole like the push the lever and then all the thing comes up and then you don't know if you're going to win or not. So Facebook mimicked that same mechanism with the refresh button. I don't know if like Facebook maybe Facebook was already like not cool when you when you were growing up, but they used to have like this refresh button, so your news feed would refresh and it would kind of mimic like this like drag and up thing, kind of like
wow.
a slot machine. And they based that, the IT engineers based that upon the gambling industry and the slot machine. And people would get excited because you don't know, once you refresh, you're gonna have new comments coming up. And then even like the notification, there's always that red symbol.
Yeah.
Once again, because they knew red would kind of alert, like it would give this like rush to people. And then but then they would know not to give you, even if you got, not to give it to you, because then you'll know that you'll be getting it regularly. So it's like a surprise. It's like it whets your dopamine. So this is the level of detail these guys are operating on, billions of
Wow.
dollars, right? And we're just walking around with this thing and be like, nah, I'm good, bro.
Dude, I
I just,
find myself refreshing the page now that you say that. Even if it's on my phone, on YouTube, Instagram, I'm just like, okay, just swipe my thumb. Just like,
yeah,
okay, what's
yeah,
coming? Wow.
yeah. This is the level of money and profitability. Even like, using a web browser instead of the app, because I think there was data that showed like Facebook at some point, I forgot what year it was, but before it was all their money was coming from the browser. And then it shifted where like now it's 95+% of all their ad revenue comes from the app. So all of their investment into making it as addictive as possible is on the app.
Makes
And
sense.
the browsers, you kind of get you're kind of a little bit more shielded from all of the kind of latest advances that they're making in make, because dude, like when Netflix is declaring that their enemy is sleep,
Wow.
like,
They
come on,
say
bro.
that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit.
This is, and we're just like, yeah, nah, it's cool, bro. Nah, man, when I say I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna stop. Like, yeah. So yeah, this is a thing like I have to kind of go to deep on, because you do need to awaken like and break down all like kind of naivety when you're dealing with someone that's, dealing with a porn addiction. But dealing with a phone addiction and porn addiction, like, man, that's a tough battle, bro. That's tough. So like we got to at least disarm one of it, and then inshallah disarm the other.
Yeah, I think yeah, you mentioned that like 2 or 3 podcasts ago, and I actually sent that to someone who reached out to me saying they were addicted after watching that.
Okay.
And
To
yeah,
pornography
so
or
yeah,
like
no,
tech?
yeah, pornography.
Yeah.
And so I sent them that I sent them some of your videos again. The one that you mentioned that is actually two addictions, and
Mm.
that was a huge eye opener for him. I was like, you're what's it called? You're addicted to pornography, but you're also addicted to your phone.
Yeah,
Is
which
that if
feeds.
that's where you're normally getting it from?
Yeah.
It's probably because you can't put your phone down. And then
Mm.
he was eye opener for me as well. Sometimes I have to just open my phone for the sake of it, with no addiction. Like I just have to be like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like
yeah,
people who don't even have porn
yeah,
addiction, like they have. Well, we all have some type of attachment to these devices. But when you
yeah,
know it's like the foundation where the porn addiction is built upon, then it makes it even like you need to even be more harsh. Like you can't even. But then I remember like I would have clients that like, would get into like arguments about like, nah, like, but this is how I communicate with my friends. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
if you need to write letters by pen and send it,
yeah,
go to the post office to communicate with your friends, you do that. Like like you need to like it needs to become non-negotiable, man. And that's yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
I think
I'll stop
something that's
ranting
forced
for a
me
bit.
to be
This was supposed
productive.
to be like a chill chill episode. And
Nah,
now
no.
yeah. And now it's like
This
yeah.
sparks ideas for the next episode.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Um but yeah, Spinal Lights, it's always interesting to see. It's just getting people to be more reflective as well. You know, we're talking about like we like part of the reasons why we like doing it is kind of like documenting the journey.
Mm,
And you're talking about you like to be in reflective mode. But that's not a typical muscle everyone has, or even a kind of a desire people have is to reflect on and see what path they're on, how they're traveling, are they going to the right direction?
yeah,
These tech uses it kind of eradicates that type of way of thinking because we just become so reactive and impulsive behavior. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, bro, because obviously there's days when like, man, I haven't been productive at all. I'm just like, but I'm kind of aware, like I'm having one of those days, like maybe like sleep's not in check or whatever. Um, but it even becomes even more important when you're trying to overcome something as difficult as porn addiction. Like, and if it's not a muscle or behavior you weren't used to before, like it takes some adjusting to do. Um, but yeah, being reflective just in general, I think it's generally going to do people more good in this day and age where it's very easy just to be in the moment and just keep going and not realizing like, are you going in the path that you want? Like, how have you been going? How's your weeks? What kind of what state are you in at the moment? That type of thing.
yeah. No, because it does force me to improve. When I look back at the old video, I'm like, okay, am I in the exact same place as I was in this video today? How many videos have I posted? And I think between one of your podcasts and another, I was like, I posted 0 videos. I'm like, what? I posted nothing on YouTube or Instagram in that time frame between one podcast to another. And I was like, no way. And it forced me to double up that week. That was a week when I did like
Mm.
7 shorts and one long form. I was like, whoa, I've posted nothing 10 days before that. That's mad. I
Yeah.
cannot yeah, I
Yeah,
can't be
YouTube doesn't
unproductive.
sugarcoat anything, right?
Yeah.
Because it has the day when from your last video, and you're like, been that long? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like,
So it
yeah,
definitely pushed me. It pushed me a lot. I'm glad about that. And I look back as well and I see what level of income am I at? And that's not even something we're talking about in the podcast. I'm just thinking in my head from this video, this guy who's sitting here talking, what position was he in life? Like what relationship did he have with this person? Oh, I remember I had an argument with this person that day. Uh, have I fixed that? Have I fixed the
mm,
relationship with that person? It's been 1 week or 2 weeks since the last podcast. What have I done? I'm actually in the
mm,
same position. That's not good. I've improved in any asset, any form of my life. Have I
mm,
even have I carried on? I was actually saying that I was like, did I even carry on reading the surah, the chapter that I was on in the Quran? I'm like, no. How many days has it been? 5? What? Like 5 days? And I didn't even open up that the Quran. Well, that specific thing that I was trying to revise.
Mm.
This is where I was like, no way, man. Like, I'm not being productive. And this really has helped me stay on track.
The
Forced
days
me.
go the days go so
Exactly.
quick, man. Like we're
Yeah.
already at the end of the year, and I'm sure if, like at the start of the year, that didn't feel that long to me. I don't know if about you, but
It flew
yeah.
too
So
fast.
this is another thing, man. It's like the clock just moves so quick, man. If you have no type of way of to kind of gauge that, man, years can go flying past, and you're
Yeah.
still in the same situation, dealing the same struggle, and not making any inroads, and that's kind of
Yeah.
scary. Um, so
Yeah. I should have been a
yeah.
millionaire right now. Like, that's the mindset you have in
Sure.
January. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. You know, when you're talking about like what the things that you wanted to achieve, but yeah, I think some big stuff you're achieving, bro. We'll keep it on the DL for now. Keep it low key.
Yeah.
Things need to be
Yeah.
tied up. But yeah, but that's another thing that I don't think we mentioned. But just because you know, just like because just by you being there, like I have like a frame of reference of someone who's wanting to do the exact same thing as me, and we're kind of on a similar journey. Um, and you know, you just even mentioning talking about you building a school community, that kind of inspires me to like, oh, okay, great. Like no one's done it. Like this like means like, you know, it's something that I can do, Charlotte, as well. And just like pushing each other as well. I think there's a level of having someone that kind of sees and thinks about the way that they would like to um, kind of contribute to the world and earn a living is the same way as you. Because like we done a whole podcast about you know um, the life and mentality that you have when like you just designate yourself to like, okay, I'm just gonna work for someone for the rest of your life, and how pursuing this you're always going against the grain. So having someone that's going against the grain with you, that kind of helps staying motivated and staying consistent too. Because like we just said, like video uploads on YouTube, it's so easy to dismiss because you're like, man, it's 10, like it's a couple of views, man. The amount of hours I have to put in just to even get everything ready, the lighting, make sure I've written something that I think is going to be impactful to the people I want to help. The editing, the hours, like you're thinking like, man, like all this time, man, I could have been studying, I don't know, Bitcoin or something. Yeah. Not that that's coming to my head, but you know what I mean? Like you get these whispers in your head, right? You know, these thoughts in your head, but just having someone that's in the same kind of trenches with you, it does kind of keep you motivated. Cause you know, so many people, they all say they want this, right? Yeah, bro, I want to start an online business. I want to, I want to make an impact. I want to, you know, help. I want to, do things on my terms type of thing. But you know, bro, like they disappear, man, like real quick. Like how many people we've seen like talk that talk, but ain't, it's so easy to give up. Not like, having to go in them, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a nice way to end it when we're talking about reflection again, coming back around to that. And I think
Yeah.
these talks give us a moment to also like talk about what we want to do for the following week and plan ahead.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool, man. I think that's a good place to leave it. Just clear for anyone who's listening to this. It became like at the beginning I wasn't really sure where I was gonna go. But yeah, alhamdulillah, it always kind of takes its organic route to something that we end up quite feeling passionate about and kind of staying in it. So yeah. So inshallah, long may this continue. And yeah, man, I'll see you on the next one, inshallah. Jazakallah
Yeah.
khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.